we're continuing with our discussion of defining religion and what religion is. And I want to build on this textbook definition of religion that says that religion is human transformation in response to perceived ultimacy. And I want to focus in on this perceived ultimacy idea a little bit as we continue this discussion on religion. Again, when Tillich talks about what's ultimate, or one's ultimate concern, as we said, that it's that thing that drives someone's life. It's that thing that it feels like someone feels like that's what completes them. It's that thing that kind of maybe lights the spark of life for them. That's their ultimate concern. I mean, you might image it a little bit like this Michelangelo image of the spark of life. It's supposed to be Adam's finger and God's finger touching, and when they do, the spark of life is ignited. But for some people, there's the human hand, but that other thing that's reaching out to them may be something else. And people have the sense that when they connect with that, that lights the spark of life for them. That gives them something to live for at that time. That gives them a focus of their lives. And so we're going to talk about that in some more specific ways as far as why do people perceive something as ultimate. One reason is that it meets certain psychological needs that people have. And so they're willing to submit themselves to meet the demands to give ultimacy to what this is. It might define their identity. Now I know who I am because of my connection with this ultimate concern, with this thing that I give ultimacy to. It orders life. You might think about it that, all of us have this sense that life is precarious, that it's unpredictable. And so when we get something that we have a sense that it orders our life, it gives a certain stability to our lives, then that becomes something that's at least greatly valuable to us. And for some people, they give ultimate worth to that because it gives stability in the midst of a precarious life. It might meet the psychological need for meaning in someone's life. I didn't know what my life was about before, but now that this is in my life, I have meaning, I have purpose, I know what my life is about. And different people are going to answer that differently. If you ask, what gives your life meaning? Well, some may talk about spiritual religious faith, but some may talk about other things that give their life meaning. And Tillich and others that line up with this idea of ultimate concern would say that may be what's truly ultimate to them, is that thing that gives their life meaning. A fourth psychological need that is met through things that people perceive as ultimate is the need to deal with the anxiety of alienation. That there's this sense that I think is underneath the human experience of that there's an alienation, there's an aloneness, there's a separateness that we experience in life. That there's a sense of alienation from others. There's a sense that no one really knows me. No one really understands me. No one really knows what makes me tick, and so no one can really make me tick because of that. I feel alienated from other people. Or a sense that there's some bigger cosmic scheme that's out there, and people can feel really alienated from that. There's this bigger picture, and I feel like I'm kind of outside of it. I'm a spectator of it, but I'm not connected with whatever it is. I'm not even sure what it is. It might be a sense of alienation just from nature, from the universe. If you can get yourself into that mindset of, a night that you can see all the stars in the sky, or lots of stars in the sky. And so you're out there by yourself, and you're laying on your back, and you're looking at all these stars. And you're thinking, wow, it's a big universe. I mean, these aren't even all the stars there are. It's such a big universe that a lot of these stars are bigger than our sun, but they're so far away, and they look so small in comparison to our sun. This universe is so big that some of those stars burned out years and years and years ago. but because they're so many light years away, we still see them burning. What a huge universe. And then you kind of turn back to yourself. And you're like, I am just a little pinhead in relation to all this vastness of the universe. What significance could I have in such a vast universe? Probably as many stars as there are, that many people have come and gone in this universe. So what significance is my life in that big scheme of things? That's that experience of alienation from the universe. There might even be a sense of alienation from ourselves. Probably at some time along the way in life, we've all looked in the mirror and been like, who is that person? Really? I mean, am I just a bundle of living out the expectations of what everybody else has of me? Or is there really a true core to who I am? And do I even know who that true core is? Or maybe we've gotten ourselves down a track in life where you look in the mirror one day and you're like, I don't like that person. I want to separate myself from that person because I don't like them. If that person I'm looking at in the mirror walked up to me and wanted to be friends with me, the way things are right now, I wouldn't want to be their friend. So sometimes there's even this alienation from ourselves that we experience. And when people give something ultimacy in their life, it often alleviates some of that anxiety of alienation. It gives us significance in a big universe. It gives us a way to connect with other people in meaningful ways. It gives us a way to kind of redeem ourselves, to find who we really are, to, as I said earlier, to establish our identity and find out who we are at the core. And when something offers that to us, we're interested in giving it allegiance and giving it loyalty. And so a lot of people perceive things as ultimate because it meets these psychological needs of helping us establish who we are, of helping us to deal with precariousness in our lives, of giving meaning to us, of dealing with the anxiety of alienation. I mean, if you just think about religious faith, and probably what a lot of you are familiar with, whether it's what's in your experience or not, of Judeo-Christian faith. Judeo-Christian faith gives value to humanity. There are teachings that talk about who we are as humans and the value that we have. Judeo-Christian faith offers ideas of how God and how that faith and how the community of that faith gives stability to life, gives a direction to life, gives a purpose in life, gives a meaning to life. Judeo-Christian faith offers ways to heal the alienation we feel with other people. These are ethical things that we can do to restore relationship with one another. It gives us significance in a big universe. And there are certainly other perceived ultimacies that people feel gives these things. Some of you may be sitting there going, I think my marriage does these things for me. Some of you may be saying, my job does these things for me. We perceive something as ultimate because we believe it answers these basic psychological needs. Secondly, people perceive something as ultimate because it meets social needs. We are social creatures. Even the most shy and introverted of us, we're social. Because there's something about being connected in a social network that validates that we're alive, validates who we are. Again, even for the most shy and introverted of us, we're social creatures. And something that we perceive as ultimate probably gives us a social network that we become a part of, a social network that we gain some sort of standing in, or a social network that confirms who we are or affirms who we are. Whether that's a faith community, as far as through a church or a synagogue or a mosque, whether that's some other sort of community that meets a social need. It might be a club that we're a part of. It might be a career field that we have established ourselves in a social network. It might be a neighborhood. But that something that we perceive as ultimate meets some of these social needs that we have as social creatures. A third thing is that, as far as why people perceive something as ultimate, is that in some way it answers the need to respond to something ultimate. there's something in us, and this is probably relates to the social creature idea, but there's something in us that we kind of look for a sense that we're part of something larger than ourselves. And so people who, are involved in teams, whether it's team sports or teams on jobs or whatever, there's this sense that I'm a part of something larger than myself, and it gives a greater significance to life and to the things I'm doing. It might be a supernatural realm that people have a sense that they're a part of something larger than themselves. People who are in love with one another, I think sometimes there's also this sense of this greater aura that they're a part of something larger than themselves that they can't even really define as they enter into love with one another. But that we all have this need to have a sense that we're connected to something larger than just me. I'm not just an island. I want to be part of a chain of islands. I want to be an island that connects with other islands. I don't want to be out there floating by myself. And so there's this need to respond to something ultimate. So people perceive things as ultimate because it meets certain psychological needs, because it meets certain social needs, and because it meets that need to have a sense that we belong to something larger than ourselves, something that is ultimate. So, in this discussion of people perceiving things as ultimate, I mentioned at the end of our last session that probably one of the critiques of just a casual reading of Tillich is seems pretty cheap and watered down as far as religion. That if alcohol and drugs can be someone's ultimate concern, if family could be someone's ultimate concern, if God could be someone's ultimate concern, to call all that religion just seems watered down. It seems like if you can call everything religion, then nothing is religion anymore. It's not distinct. It's not a unique phenomenon anymore. Certainly Tillich and others who have followed along that train of thought would concur with that. And so there's much more to this that has developed over time than simply religion is ultimate concern. I want to look at that in three ways here. That there are some ultimate concerns that are what we could call authentic religion or authentic ultimate concerns. There are some that we could call pseudo religions or pseudo ultimate concerns. And then there are some that we could call crypto religions or crypto ultimate concerns. Let's start with the last one that I mentioned there. Crypto religions or crypto ultimate concerns. The word crypto as a root means hidden, not known. I mean, when you have a cryptogram, it's a hidden message. And so the idea of a crypto religion is it's a hidden message that this is something that it's ultimate in someone's life, but they may not identify it as ultimate. They may not realize it's ultimate. And the other part of this crypto religion idea is, and it's not worthy of being ultimate. It doesn't meet a lot of these needs that we talked about earlier. It doesn't answer the big questions in life. It leaves one existentially disappointed. And so with crypto religions, it might be things like money or drugs and alcohol. Maybe there's certain kinds of relationships that might be a crypto religion. It might be some sort of career goal or entertainment goal. But things that people are living for, things that people's lives are revolving around, things that their lives are focused on, but they don't call it religion. They may not even realize it's what their lives are revolving around. And it's not really fulfilling all these needs when it all comes down. It's got them on a track of existential disappointment. Those would be these crypto religions that for some of you may feel like to call those religion is kind of cheap. Well, this says, yeah, they're not worth the ultimacy that's given to them. People don't even realize they're making them ultimate. But it is, by Tillich's definition, their religion, their ultimate concern, but it's not worthy of ultimacy. It's a crypto religion. There's pseudo religions or pseudo ultimate concerns. These would be things that we claim have loyalty in our lives, but they really don't. we claim that we meet the demands of this ultimate concern, but we really don't. Now, some of you might be sitting there going, sounds like hypocrisy to me. Well, that is what pseudo-religion is. It's hypocrisy. It's when someone may claim something as having more ultimacy than what it really does. And the truth is, there are hypocrites in all areas of life. I mean, of course, we can quickly go to religious hypocrites. People who claim a religious commitment, a religious loyalty, but then you look at their lives and it doesn't measure up. And all of us are very quick to critique that. But there are people in all fields of life, all realms of life, who claim something is more important to them than it really is. You think I have students who try to make me think that their education is more important to them than it really is? Sometimes that happens. There's hypocrisy in that. Sometimes in our jobs are we hypocritical? Do we claim it's more important to us than it really is? Sometimes in relationships are we hypocritical? I mean, are some of us in relationships we're saying, oh yeah, you're the most important thing in the world to me. You mean the most to me. But the person says, yeah, but you don't act like it. Hypocrisy, pseudo-religion. And so there are some things that we claim have an ultimacy to us, but we aren't willing to meet the demands of that ultimate concern. And so we aren't going to get anything from it. When you lay that pseudo-religion and crypto-religion alongside each other, pseudo-religion is something that we claim has ultimacy, but we don't meet the demands that that ultimate concern makes, and so we're not going to get the promises. So we claim ultimacy, we don't meet the demands, so we're not going to get the promises. Existential disappointment. Crypto-religion. Things that we may not claim as ultimate, but we do treat them as ultimate. So we do meet the demands of these crypto-religions. But they are not capable of fulfilling the promises that we think it's making to us. When Tillich talks about that, he talks about that sometimes there are finite things that we try to get infinite things from. I mean, I think sometimes we're that way with our jobs or with money or with relationships, where we're trying to get things out of that person or out of that job or out of that bank account that it's not even really capable of giving us. And so we meet the demands, we put everything we can into it, but it's just not going to give all the things we want it to give. It's not going to meet all those psychological needs that we think it's going to meet. That's a crypto-religion. You meet the demands, but you don't get the promises because it's not worthy of ultimacy. Pseudo-religion, you don't meet the demands, so obviously if you don't meet the demands, you're not going to get the promises. Even if it's a worthy ultimate concern, if you're not meeting the demands of it, you're not going to get the promises. Hypocrisy. Then the third angle on that is authentic religion or authentic ultimate concerns. These are things that we make ultimate in our lives. We acknowledge its ultimacy. We meet the demands that it makes. And we discover that it's worthy of the ultimacy that we've given it. It doesn't leave us existentially disappointed. It meets those psychological and social needs that we talked about earlier. It gives us a sense that we're part of something larger than ourselves. It measures up. It's not idolatrous. That's something that would be considered an authentic ultimate concern. It's worthy of ultimacy, you meet the demands, and it's capable of fulfilling the promises that you're expecting from it. It's authentic ultimate concern. So when you look at this idea of perceived ultimacy, basically you can kind of create two categories here. That some things are worthy of the ultimacy we give it, and some things aren't. If it's authentic, it's worthy. If it's authentic, it doesn't existentially disappoint. If it's authentic, it's not considered idolatrous because it gives the promises that it makes in response to the demands that we meet. It meets those psychological and social needs that we talked about earlier. It's worthy of ultimacy. And then there are ultimate concerns that are inauthentic ultimate concerns. These are the ones that either we meet the demands, but it's not capable of fulfilling the promises that we're asking of it, or it's something that we're not even meeting the demands, so there's no way we're going to get the promises from it. It's something that's idolatrous. It's something that existentially disappoints. It's something that doesn't satisfactorily meet all those psychological, social needs that we talked about earlier. It's inauthentic. So as you look at this whole idea of perceived ultimacy and human transformation in response to it, whatever we perceive as ultimate, it does change us. It does transform us. We do believe it's going to take us from some dissatisfied state to a satisfied state. But, according to this theory, or this philosophy of religion, some ultimate concerns are worthy of that perceived ultimacy we give it. It does bring about the kind of transformation we want. It does move us from that original state to what we anticipate we'll receive by making it ultimate, authentic ultimate concerns. Some things do not transform us and take us to a state that's better than the dissatisfied state that we have. Inauthentic ultimate concerns or inauthentic perceived ultimacies. Well, as we are wrapping up this first unit, we kind of laid this more philosophical base about what religion is. But now, after you've taken an exam over this material, we're going to move on and talk about specific religious traditions and ways that they are also about human transformation in response to perceived ultimacy.